Hey everybody, it's Bust with the quarterfinal round of the Tarjeta Draft League Season 2. And so we just squeaked our way in to the quarterfinals into the top cut. We went 3-2 in the regular season, and that was good enough to get us 5th out of the 6th place. So we do have to play in the quarterfinal round, and we're going to be up against Prodigy. And I think this is the Prodigy. I think it is. I think it's the good one. No disrespect to all of you other Prodigies out there, but I do believe this is the Prodigy that took down the Curious Journey Seasonals, and then also has made many Seasonals top cuts, can hit top 1 or rank 1 on the ladder, and so we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us if it's that one. If it's a different Prodigy, then, no disrespect. I'm sure you're great. It's just there's other ones that are exceptionally good at the game of Runeterra. And so we'll see if that's who we're doing battle with today. And so before we dive into the deck list, one last thing to call out. The 3.16 patch has just hit, so the changes to Swain and Fiora are in play. There's been no redrafts or changes in any of that sense. I don't think it really affects any of our decks. We might have had a Fiora in our Poppy deck. I don't quite remember, but we're not going to be making any changes to our deck list based on those. And so it wasn't anything big enough. We've got Decimate in our in our weak deck, so maybe that's going to be a bit of downside, but it doesn't change enough for us to not want to play it. And so, if you're new here to the league, if you're not familiar with what's going on, we can refresh on our decks really quick. The Bard number is the deck that's been getting banned most of all. I believe Bard has been banned 4 out of the 5 rounds, and this was unbanned, I believe, in the last week, and we just crushed. This is a really powerful limited deck that has the 3 birds, the 3 Esmiths, and the 3 Bards, so we have a lot of ways to push those bonuses out, which make a humongous difference in limited play as opposed to constructed. So we have all the chime generators along with a lot of good early game plays, decent curve, and then the big scary thing you see out of Freylord tends to be the epics, and we have a few of the good ones here with the Buried in the Ice and the Howling Abyss. And so we'll see if opponent wants to leave this one up. These decks have kind of fallen out of favor just a little bit with the chimes not being quite as strong as they were when we initially drafted, but this is the one that typically has been getting banned. The one that makes it through if the Freylord deck doesn't get banned is our Poppy deck. This is a Poppy deck that has a lot of go-wide synergies in it. It's got this stack of Poppies and Vanguard Sergeants, Yordle Captains and the like to boost all of our team. And then in typical Poppy faction, we have a couple of rallies to help make those double attacks and end the game very quickly. And so just a kind of standard go-wide deck, has a lot of early value plays in it between the likes of Conchologists and the Pokesticks, Grandfather Phase generating another set of units, and then we're looking to close out the games with Poppies and Rallies. Last but not least, it's the deck everyone loves to see, the one that we hate to play. It is our Shiraz of the Blade, Kato the Arm combo deck. So we did come out, tried to make a particularly aggressive PNZ Noxus deck. The tools that we were looking for didn't quite show up in the draft, and so this most certainly came together as our weakest play. And so the way that we look to salvage this draft is getting in a bunch of early game damage, and then closing out the rest of the games with overwhelms. The most spectacular way to close out the games with those overwhelms is the Kato the Arm Shiraz of the Blade combo. They're totally dating and totally bringing big booms. And so I fully expect our opponents to leave this deck up. We finally pulled off the combo in week 5 to where we got this big Shiraz of the Blade, Kato the Arm attack. We had some combat tricks in there, I believe, to give her the extra damage and really give her a big boost. Felt really good. I felt like I won the season at that point. Whoever wins, the top cut doesn't matter. None of them pulled off the Kato Shiraz of the Blade combo to the best of my knowledge. And so we'll see if we're able to pull that off again. I can't imagine that the Kato deck gets banned. And so, our opponent Prodigy, to take a quick peek at their deck list, the one that we're going to be banning is this P and Z Demacia number. They are not playing Freylord, which I typically look as the first deck to kind of consider banning since there's so many high-powered epics, but they have Ionia P and Z. This is Bilgewater, or they have, I'm sorry, Ionia Demacia. They have Bilgewater P and Z. Not sure why the deck list doesn't come up. Something about the new deck codes breaking the thing. Don't care. I'm not going to ban this deck anyways. And then they have a mono Shadow Isles deck. And so when looking at these, the big thing that I'm ultimately worried about are how much heal do these decks have and how many ways do they have to interact with our Shiraz of the Blade combo. And you would typically think that Shadow Isles has a lot of ways to do that, but it looks like Prodigy here went for a way to where you're trying to chase down the Mist Wraiths deck and didn't quite land on it. You're going to see a couple copies of Harrowing Return and the Wraith Caller in here. Doesn't look like the Mist Wraiths and the Fearsomes really came together. And then there isn't just the big removal package that we're typically afraid of. There's only one copy of Vile Feast, no Unspeakable Horrors, no Hate Spikes. And then there's no Vengeances in here as well. The only removal spells that are big time are at the slow speed with the Shadow Isles, Tellstones, and the Crumble. And so I'm okay with leaving this up. It does have some scary epics in here. He's got the Harrowing, Commander Ladros, Rasa, Invasive Hydrovine, so the late game certainly is scary, but it has a manageable set of early game cards coming out of Shadow Isles, and I ultimately worry about just like the big high-powered plays that can come out of these Demacia decks. He has a pretty reasonable high-powered set of units here with the triple Bannerman and a lot of early game plays, a lot of the elites package, and then just the big closers with things like Saiyan Thousand-Tailed and Cythria. I guess Saiyan Thousand-Tailed just get nerfed, but I think this deck looks a little bit more consistent and a little bit scarier than the Shadow Isles deck. Again, I don't know what's going on with the P&Z Bilgewater, but I feel like that's something that we're probably just not going to want to ban in the face of facing the Shen Jarvan. Ideally, like P&Z Bilgewater shouldn't be able to interact with our combo, right? They're going to be playing Mystic Shots and stuff, and so they can potentially kill, but not as scarily as some of the other decks that would have potential to do. Now, one last thing before we dive in. I'm not entirely certain how this works in terms of the pick ban phase and paying the pay-to-win price, and so I'm just going to make sure we're covered here right from the get-go. I'm going to come in, I'm going to make sure we have the big and bad and important skins, and so we're going to pick up the Bard skin, go ahead and get Bard ready for that, and then we're going to come over to the Poppy deck. We got to pick up the Garen skin here as well. This is the new one coming out of the new set. I feel really good if we can come in here and just have this large collection of skins going in. You know, if they're going to be better than us at the game, then we're going to get the luck factor going with the pay-to-win price. I feel really good now. I hope you do too. So let's jump on into battle. All right, and off we go. Yeah, it looks like we would have had a chance to pay the price, but who knows? Who knows if we would have gotten the real shot to get our correct deck in here. If he bans the Bard and we only leveled up Garen, then it would have been a bit of a disappointment. And so let's see what's happening here. Again, we plan on banning out this Demacia deck. It looks like it may not be going heavy into the Bannerman, so we might cut out on this. Ooh, wow. He's playing triple Bannerman, but with 11 Ionia cards in it. I might want to come back and actually leave this one up. Because the early game package here isn't as devastating as I thought it was. So let's leave this up for a moment. Check out this P&Z number. What's happening with it? It's got Production Surge, a bunch of just rando cards, one Mystic Shot to interact with. I think this is okay to leave up. I'm actually looking to pivot over and ban out this Shadow Isles deck. Looks like it has Albus Pharos and Shock Blast, so it's doing some kind of like big things. Has a rally in it with Blood in the Water, but not a lot of early game power, not a lot of things that I believe I'm really scared of. And so, yeah, let's actually just pivot over. We're going to ban out the Shadow Isles deck. I thought that there was going to be like a lot more like challengers and high-powered elites here in the early game, but it doesn't look like that's where things actually fell. And so let's see. It's got a Nopified double retreat. Lots of early combos we're not super scared of. One Relentless Pursuit, no Golden Aegiuses. And then the big, like, kind of later game Demacia stuff. Okay. So that's fine. Running out of time with these. We'll just come in and drop the ban on the Shadow Isles. And then we get to go with the Freylord deck. And so this is one of the things I've been kind of experimenting with as we've moved on to a lot of best of 3. And then just playing our good deck first. And then ideally we can win with our good deck and then play the bad one twice, instead of starting off with the bad one and trying to play it twice. And so we'll see how that goes. Got a reasonable enough start here with one Chime Generator, the Stalking Wolf, and Elixir of Iron. Should give us a pretty good opportunity to try and get out in front of this Demacia deck, especially if they stumble a little bit in the early game. Let's see. Not a lot of stumbles in the early game with the Penitent Squire coming down, but It's not the end of the world. All right, there's Bird. Not too late. We can drop some nice curve filler in the upcoming turns, and we are about to pop off with the chimes. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. So hopefully, again, he had like maybe like 2 or 3 1-drops, maybe 1 or 2 2-drops. I'm not expecting too many plays here in the early game. It's as we get into those like turn 4s, turn 5s, turn 6 where his deck should really be able to start getting ahead of us. But man, oh man, they're coming down. They're coming after us. Not a bad set. We even get to give them the donated unit here in the early game. Make it a little bit easier on them.
I mustn't stop.
All right, so let's go ahead and win this combat, take down his good unit. Then the next turn, we're going to be playing Esmith next, or the Bird next turn. It's not going to get a good combat, but we should be in a spot to get the chimes really rolling. And what I'm kind of envisioning is we may have some potential to just close out this game with elusives. We'll have to see how these chimes start to fall, but if he's going to start playing a heavy curve game, we might have a bit of way for these Esmiths to chunk in while the rest of his units can't. All right, so we'll drop in the Bird. We did pick up Troll Chant, which gives us some opportunities to go for a 2-for-1 here, but I think I would rather just try and build up board and then use the Troll Chant on a different turn. So a little something like this. We'll offer up the trades into the Squire. Chain Vest is okay. It's a pretty low value unit here in the Squire, and so I'm not too upset to get the trade from the get the trade from the 1-cost unit into him. All right, the Bannerman missed. It's an Ionia card on top. The way that we tended to go with the Bannerman and the Allegiance cards was in Expedition you only had 36 card decks, but we would limit ourselves at 6. That was the most I would allow for our Allegiance to go before I started to like really worry about what was happening. Retreat. Okay. So we don't get any damage in, but we're pretty far ahead on board. The Bannerman whiffs again. I'm sorry, bro. And then we're getting somewhat close to being able to level up our Bard. Here comes the mountain of stats. I hope you're ready for him. How could this ever go wrong? I can't, like, I was looking at the deck list too quickly. I don't think there were things like Riposte, but it's like, even Riposte is kind of iffy here. It's going to be not enough to do battle with Bard. I think he had some of those things that give like +2/+2 in Challenger, or they summon the Honored Lord. But again, that's another set. Like, if he really wants to play like 2 and 3 combat tricks to have a Bannerman win against Bard, I'm fine with it. And then we, of course, have this sweet interactive package in our hand, and so it's not ultra scary at the moment. All right, Scattered Pod comes down. Here's our bigger friend in the Hearthguard. This looks good. It's going to be another round of like, at some point we would have to worry about the Scattered Pod turning elusive and blocking our Esmiths, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. No, thank you. Is that card permanent? I don't remember if that Challenger thing sticks around forever. It does not. All right, so we need to just be getting on board here more with the marksman. Like, I could even see arguments for here to just start playing Entombs on this turn. I think that's going to be like a little sketchy, but the option is there. But with this, like, I'm leaning towards just pulling in the Scattered Pod. We should be getting more damage in here, let's be real. I mean, like, what's the worst that happens? Like, if he plays like a Saiyan Thousand-Tailed, that doesn't even change anything. Like, Cythria doesn't change anything. If he just plays like one big unit this turn, then we still have lots of opportunity to take that unit down with our wolf and have a good combat afterwards. But this is the point to where, like, his deck's gonna start popping off, right? He had a lot of really expensive stuff in here. And so if we don't start to take over the board now, those big plays are going to start to cause some trouble. What we got, though? We got 18 chimes in here. It's time to start rolling up some more chimes. Get some more hits with those things. Curious where Flash Freeze came from. It's not in my 50. I might have to check into it. I haven't changed any of the deck lists since we started. I've been playing the same things every week. All right, we'll see what comes up out of that. I'm sure we can finish off this game and then come back to it. But we shall see. He's taking a peek at the deck list real quick. He sent me a message on the Discord that the Flash Freeze wasn't on the list in my 50, which it's entirely possible, but we'll have to see what's up with that, if there was a weird import error or something. All right, let's go ahead and get an attack in like this. I assume he's going to block in with the Scattered Pod. We can Troll Chant in with the Vanguard Bannerman. See what's going to happen here. Definitely looking to Troll Chant now. It'll only be 6 damage coming in on our unit. We'll protect up our wolf here. If he has another card or another trick, I'd like to be able to protect with it. But it seems like things are okay, at least in this game. If it cycles back around to him just playing another big unit, we're able to entomb it and then attack on the next turn. Things should be looking good. Oh. We got a nah, my bad, wrong Freylord list. Okay. Everything seems okay. I wish if our deck list was wrong, someone would have would have come up with it by now. But I know that, like, there's you have all the sideboard and stuff and the opportunities for changing out your deck lists and everything, but I just haven't bothered with this one, and so you know, it's just, it is what it is. All right, though, Esmuth, you've done your work for the day. We're going to go ahead and replace you. Pick up a friend with the Bjerg. Going to look and drop an Entomb on old Jarvan here. And I feel like this should probably be enough to end this game. GG. All right, so yeah, this is the way I'm still, like, not really sold on best of 3 strategy. There's a lot of people that are better at best of 3s out here than I am. But, I have the kind of ideas to where I want to play my bad deck twice. And that's unfortunately the Teemo deck here. But I'm not entirely remembrant of you know, if we want to take a double shot with the bad deck first or just try and get the win with our good one and switch over. I'm not entirely certain how I feel about that. Oh, he does have Riptide Servant in here. So this is like kind of like a 6-cost Jace deck. All right. But yeah, that's one of those strategies I've talked about a bit in terms of this, that one of the best of 3 masters would know more than me in terms of, you know, just running the bad one first. So you're guaranteed to get it twice, or just trying to win with your good one and seeing how that goes. But at any rate, reasonable start. Lots of aggression coming out here in the early game. We got this this triple Poro lineup for the 3rd turn. We got some good discard fodder for our Poro cannon. This is exactly what this deck is trying to do. So ideally, what we kind of expect to happen with this deck is we're going to try and just punch in as much early damage as we can. Hopefully, we'll get to grind our opponent down to a low double-digit health total, and then we'll be able to finish things off with a flurry of big overwhelms and decimates and burn spells and the like. And so we'll see how it plays out. Again, I didn't get a good look at this lineup, and so I'm not entirely certain what's coming out of the PNZ deck. We didn't get to preview it up there, but I think we'll be okay. So give me some of that old FTPBUST style of aggression. Did he have Make It Rains? No Make It Rains, please. Please and thank you. Are we okay to just go ahead and give the value? I think this is fine. It's not like super ideal to have the Coral Creatures thing come in, but like after this turn, I think we're going to start just like immediately being on this Elusives plan. And so just like immediately taking the trade with Runeweaver doesn't sound super appealing. Get them damages in. That's my motto, right? Okay, and then this is kind of interesting. We picked up the Overwhelm Fragment and the +2 attack fragment. The +2 attack fragment works fantastically with our Elusives. If we get the opportunity to kind of attack around, we might be able to find some good combats with those. And then also we picked up the Overwhelm Fragment, which is pretty good to be slamming onto the likes of Kato the Arm. And so we'll see how these go. We do currently have this Spinning Axe that we can discard with our Draven as well, but lots of good options coming out of these. It seems a little bit better than hitting the quick attack fragments. All right, this is okay. We weren't going to be getting good attacks into this Tentacle anyways. And we're definitely just switching over to the Elusives. So who are we going to go with? I like the Overwhelm thing probably just has to start dropping onto Kato the Arm. And so I think I'm okay to discard the Overwhelm here and then still have access to this Spinning Axe for our Draven. So let's go ahead and Poro Cannon. Overwhelm is going to go. Daring Poros are going to come in. Let's get ourselves into battle. All right, not bad, not bad. Draven says, give me a little bit of that Kato action on this next turn. We're looking to just boom really hard on this next round. If we get to drop Kato here, open attack next round, put the +2 fragment on a Daring Poro or something, then we're going to have access to the Spell Force and such. So that looks all well and good. This is pretty scary. He didn't hit any Elusives, which is quite good for us. Now we got to see if we can't just sneak this big chunk of damage in. We're going to just fall. We're going to take it. He doesn't have Decimates. He has Shock Blasts and stuff. You should need 2 cards to be trying to kill us here. All right, get that Laser Beam Kitty ready. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, does that change anything? Oh, man, we drew the combo. Oh, man. What are we even at right now? We got 1, 2, 3. Say we get 6 out of Draven, 9, 10, 11, like maybe 12? It's killing time. Let's do it, Shiraza. I'm excited. I'm excited. Does he have the Shock Blast? Does he have the Riptide Sermon? No! Some people just don't know how to have fun, man. Okay. Depression is imminent. The depression is real. How much more can we punch in here now? We're going to lose our Kato to this combat. We'll still have 3 blockers next turn. I'm curious if he sticks with the Apex turret or with the Storm Lobber in terms of trying to get his lethal next turn. I think in this space, we probably need to keep the Rising Spell Force in hand so that we can look to potentially block the Fearsome next turn. So we're going to come in like this. We're only going to hit for 5 this round. Can only get up to 10 with the spells in hand. All right. What a bummer. I bet we could have lethaled there if we didn't go for the combo. That's the sad moment. Sad moment when you don't go for the combo. All right, hang on. We probably do have to keep this Kato the arm here if we're going to think on this a little bit more. If we're going to roll into next turn, we need to be able to block his Overwhelm unit. And so let's protect the Kato for the moment. That might be enough to carry us into victory next round as well. Right, if we get a secondary attack with Kato to boost our units. That's going to be a little much. A little much. Oh, man. I wonder if we had it there. We could have just... We had 8 damage coming out of hand. So it would have been 3 on board. 11. It would have been really close. I think we might have been getting him for exacties if we'd hit in the proper fashion there. But all right. What does this deck have to interact with our sweet Shiraza combo? It has 1 Will of Ionia, and that looks like it. Of course, it has a bunch of challengers in it, but those shenanigans like that one where we got hit with the Shock Blast shouldn't have to worry about as much. It looks like a Will of Ionia and a Concerted Strike. Boo. Boo. All right. Let's see what this deck can put forth. Oh man, we already just have it in hand. We already have the Shiraza. It's unfortunate not to be able to hold on to her. I'm just going to take a full mulligan here. We really need to be finding some 1s and some 2s. Much better start. It is nice to have the Caitlyn in your as quickly as you can. She should be getting a lot of value against this deck, but we have to be chunking in this early game damage. All right, Blade Squire, let's battle. Let's see if he draws any of his cheap plays this time. It was a little scary on that the first round against the Demacia deck when he hit 1-drop into 1-drop. I would think more often than not, he's probably not going to have a play until turn 3.
Voices carry.
So here we're going to have to see if we want to just go for the open or if we're going to get a Daring Apprentice style play. We're going to pivot into these elusives here. We can play Teemo second, I guess, but it's like a very real chance that his units just like may have to be a trade. The Protege's, a good one for him here, but we get to chunk in this extra damage. He's now hopefully gonna die to Teemo. Sad day for you, Teemo. Looks like you're about to fall. But we're gonna have him squeezing them butt cheeks for the rest of the game. he must imminently worry about the incoming Teemo damage for the rest of the battle. Ooh, all the challengers, eh? All the challengers.
Happy to do whatever's needed.
All the challengers. Oh my goodness. All right. So he'll have a couple of good hooks here into our 1/1s. Oh man, he's got good hooks everywhere. Are we just gonna have to build up and try and win this with the big overwhelm from the Savage Reckoner? I don't think we can play a Rising Spellforce on this board. Like I had in my head that it was gonna be a little bit more okay until the second challenger came down. That's pretty painful.
I write the rules of power.
But looks like what we're building up to is just gonna be ideally some kind of big OTK.
2, 3, 4.
So Timo, you're in. It's all on you. Our fate rests upon your shoulders. we need to get in here. This is going to be a turn. We need to play the Blade Fragment on Timo and knock him down to 10. Because next turn we're going to look to Rising Spellforce the Savage Reckoner and then hook one of these 1 health units for a kill. So the bonus from the Swiftwing Flight is just for the round, and so ideally we're going to be able to hook in, say, Valor with an 11 power Savage Reckoner and get the finish that way. I'm curious if we shouldn't even just go ahead and Rising Spellforce as well. He didn't have he has a Concerted Strike and Will of Ionia, right? That should be it. He didn't have Sharp Sights to the best of my memory. And then this way, if we pick up, say, an Elixir of Wrath or a Brother's Bond, we can then use those on our Savage Reckoner on the follow-up turn. I think we want to just slam. All right, Adventure starts with Mushrooms. Drop him down to 6. Ooh, boy. We're counting on you, Savage Reckoner. You gotta bring the thunder and the fury. Ooh, and a Sumpworks map? Oh, man. Oh, man. The possibilities are endless now. Whew. Let's see. Timo down. The damage, not lethal. See if he's got a rally. A rally would probably finish us. But man, we're so close to the lethal. Let's see how it goes. All right, Overwhelms. You failed us on game 1. But this game, feeling good about it. No rallies. One-time dealer, no rallies. F. So close. So close. I can't believe it. We, of course, could have gone about this a little differently. We could have saved a Rising Spellforce for that previous combat, and maybe you wouldn't have had the lethal here. Probably would have, but man, so close with those. Just the one rally in the deck as well. Not enough interactivity coming out after that. Feel like we had a real shot. But man, that's too bad. I still wondering, lingering in the back of my head, if we weren't going to be able to take down that game 2 had we just not played Shiraza. But you got to just go for it, right? That's the #1 best play in the world, is just to go for it. And I feel like if we're taking down our victories with the Shiraza combo, that's certainly the way to go about it. But that's going to be the end of our journey for the Draft League. Well played, Prodigy, and best of luck for you in the future. And if you're looking to get yourself into some limited formats, you can visit the Tarjeta.gg site. They have an upcoming Season 3 as soon as this one is done. I would think it's going to be starting up around the week after Seasonals or a couple of weeks after Seasonals. And so it should be upcoming and in the near future. And so if you like to draft, if you like to play limited card games, if you're sad that expeditions are gone, then you're going to have some opportunities to play in the future draft leagues. And I think there's going to be a bit more of a new format to where it doesn't necessarily span so many weeks and across so many patches and releases. And so lots of opportunity for you all out there. But this one is done. Best of luck to everyone still in the adventure. I hope you have a good set of games out there and you're able to achieve victory. But that will do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.